Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. So, I decided last night to record, and it was because I had received, like these like aha moments and little downloads and information, which is always happening, and it's been happening a lot lately, to the point where it's like overwhelmingly a lot of information, and I feel like basically I need to share it. And I've felt for a while that I needed to start like a podcast. And the only reason I haven't like fully done that is because there's so many options. So I have like 6 different places right now that I could be using as like my podcast place, because I've set up accounts there, and I'm like, I just haven't gone with like the final like publish thing. Um, and I don't know why. Obviously, there's a block, and lately I've been just embracing that more so of like, if it's not working or if something's like, there's something happening, there's a reason for it, so just kind of like go with the flow of it. And then I was like, maybe I'm supposed to talk, but maybe it's supposed to be in videos. And sometimes there'll be videos with me on it, and sometimes they might be a video of pictures. I don't know. It's gonna always maybe be different, but I don't need to be like making it a big deal and then not making anything at all. So I'm gonna do my best to honor whatever's coming up and out. It was really weird though, because I basically came with like the intention to share like this part about my frequency, and how so many people like always want to know, how do I do this and that and the other thing, or how do I manifest, how do I create my reality, how do I become who I'm supposed to be, how do I align with my purpose and my mission, and a bit. And I was speaking about the fact of like our frequency, and it's like when my frequency reached a certain vibration, I was no longer a match for certain things in my life, so it would immediately repel me to the next place. I feel like that's kind of like where I'm at right now, is like I'm going into the next level of something, and like things are kind of, if something's shaky, it has the decision to make, like, are you coming up with us, or are you gonna stay here? Because that's how everything is here right now with the earth. Like, people will talk about new earth, and all of that concept of like 5D or whatever. And I've always said all along, like, you're never gonna wake up and look out the window and be like, wow, 5D earth is here, like, and that's it. It's a vibrational frequency. You have to just go there, like, be there, become it, just like you become what you want to be or do or have. If you want to be an abundant person, you need to feel like abundant. You need to become what you want before you really like fully achieve that energy and frequency and vibration. And once you do it to a little bit, you turn it up and up and up and up. So like, people always like, I just want to like go be a billionaire, or I want to be a millionaire. Well, if you're down here at little man low pole got nothing land, you don't know the vibration and frequency of what it's like to be a billionaire. So you might as well take a little jump first before you take that huge one, because you can't do that. You're not gonna get it. You might as well, be like, I'm gonna manifest $20 this week and do it, and then, oh wow, that was like cool, I did it, wow, I know what that feels like. So when somebody gets to that next level, now they can, it's easier to get to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. But you can't just go from way down here to way up here and have no like concept of what that feels like, or what that looks like, or what that tastes like, or smells like, or is like at all, and then think that you're gonna get up there. And if you do happen to like make it there, you're not gonna stay there, because you aren't gonna be able to maintain. You're gonna be in so much resistance to that reality that you will probably do some really stupid things and be back to broke. So you're better to go on the process, the journey, and level up a little at a time. Nobody's in a rush. Everybody, well, a lot of people are in a rush, but like nobody else outside of you cares. Like, they're not like, oh well, look at them, still not doing that, like whatever. Like, it's only us who do that to ourselves. Like, oh my god, I need to be further ahead, I need to have more money. No, you don't. You really don't. Like, and if you realized that not having those things doesn't mean much, like for the right people, you know, like if you think like, oh, once I have like all this money, once I have all this stuff, then I'm gonna be who I think I should be. It's not gonna happen, because you're still gonna feel the same inside about yourself. You're still not gonna feel adequate or worthy or whatever it is that you have going on that makes you feel that you need those things, because you don't need those things. Like, there's people on the planet who are going to accept you fully for who you are, and probably already do, and you just can't allow yourself to see that or embrace that or even allow it into your life, because you don't feel that way about yourself. And that's usually the biggest problem that a lot of us have. I know myself having lots of problems. And I actually spoke about a lot of different things throughout these videos. I cried a lot, which I've been doing lately. But I'm going to do my best to put it together and share it. And I know I have people out there who just like to listen. So this is going to make those people very happy. It may not all put together in the way that's like, what? Like, because I don't understand what happened. I'm like, what? How is this over here and this over here? Every time I've tried to make these videos like all together, they're not lining up the way that they should be. It's like I'm talking about this thing, and then I'm talking about this thing, and then I'm talking about that thing again. But like, if I want to take it from here to over here to be there, it's like, no. I'm like, why? Why can't I do that? I feel like spirit wants it to be a certain way, because like, if I showed you in my phone like what I mean and how many times, and I've gone through and edited, you know, like my like out, because there was times that I'm like crying, couldn't speak for moments. So instead of making you sit there in the silence, I edited all that out. But then it didn't like pan out, nothing working right. So I didn't save it. I had to click out of it to like start again. Let's start again, and just start again, because I'm like, this is how messed up this is now. I do it again, and we're right back at the same problem, where it's like this ends talking about this concept, picks up over to this new concept, but then we revert back to that other concept. What the hell? I don't want that. But that's what's happening. So I'm going to try one more time. And I'm going to have this be the like, hey guys, what's up? Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe it'll be at the end. I don't even know. So, whatever. I'm just going to do my best. I did think that maybe I'm supposed to like share separately, like one, because I talked about, you know, like the spiritual community, and you know, when you come into the spiritual community, sometimes you're gonna think things or feel things or be a certain way. And it's crazy, because I went through my spiritual awakening a while ago, and now my person that I connect to, divine masculine, is having like everything that I believed at one time is like coming up for them. Or one, like it's like little tiny things too, like just little things to huge things. And I'm like, it's helping me though, because it's making me remember like where I came from, so how far I've got, and also helping me to realize where people need help, or where they might need some guidance, or they might need that, hey, don't think that, because if you think that, you're going to get screwed. Like, you know, sometimes we need that, because I was very naive when I came on to like the spiritual community, and then like there's people out there that do shitty shit, and there's stuff out there that's not legit. So like, you don't want to go out there with that open heart of like, let me like take on everything that's out here, because there's channelers out there that channel shit that's not true. I spent like a long time thinking certain things, and then was like, it's been a while, and like, you know, the channelers would be like, oh, this thing happened, so we couldn't do that thing, but next week, any type of channeling that has like dates that like, they're like tomorrow, or like 5:15 freaking whatever. It's usually like, because like time is an illusion. It's not like out there. It's a fucking construct of the third dimension. It's bullshit. And like, when they're like, oh, there's gonna be like massive amounts of like ships coming to the earth, and you know, everybody's gonna know tomorrow, that has been being said for a long fucking time, and I have not seen it in these 10 years, 11 years now, that I've been waiting for them to be like, hey, here we are. Come take me, because I'm ready to go. I was like, yes, they're coming. They didn't come. And I was like, what the hell? But I realized there's a lot of channelers out there that are just channeling some bullshit. They're not really channeling. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But unfortunately, it's hard to tell the difference if you're not attuned yet. You don't know yet. And that's okay. You don't need to know everything. You just need to find somebody that you can trust. And trust yourself. And feel from inside. Like, does this feel legit? Does this feel like something that's likely to happen? You know, like, just a little bit of, like, have a little bit of that in you. Or you're like, I'm gonna keep a little bit of the skepticism. Because that's, like, it's just safer for you. So you don't get hurt. And then spiritual people, I had a lot of them on pedestals. I like spiritual community. I was like, this is my safe fucking haven. Like these people aren't gonna hurt me. These people are gonna be great. Wow, they're all loving that, and they're doing nice things for the planet. Woo-hoo-hoo. They're still humans. They still have ego. They're still assholes. There's still a lot of them. Like, unfortunately, they hurt you really badly. I think that's like one of the biggest wounds that I have is what happened to me, not once but twice. And it's actually something that I figured out tonight. Was a replay from my mom. And that's what everything is. Everything in our lives basically stems from our childhood. If you have parents, they don't have to be horrible parents to screw you up a little bit. They don't have to be bad people. You don't have to suffer at the hands of them every day for you to be a little, like, susceptible to having patterns and things play out in your life over and over and over until you're like, oh, let me stop doing that. Or change and evolve to get to the place where it's like, hey, let's get this new thing that comes in as part of this pattern. Instead of, like, pattern interrupt. Let's have a new result. We don't have to live the same thing out over and over and over. We don't have to suffer. We don't have to be in pain. We don't have to do all of that thing that we usually do. But if it's all we know, if we weren't given the coping skills or the communication skills or, like, just the basic wisdom to navigate certain avenues of life or certain structures within this fucking third dimensional reality, then there's nothing that can be done until you know that, realize it, see it, and go, wow, I need to make a difference here. And then do that. Because it's easy to stay stuck, and it's easy to stay where we are, and it's easy to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. But it's insanity, because you can't do the same thing over and over and over and get a different result. What you need to do is evolve and grow to get a better result. And if we are collectively evolving and growing, we need to realize that, like, okay, that means that where we were before, who we are, you know, doesn't make us bad people, doesn't make us wrong, doesn't make us horrible, and blah, blah, blah. It just makes us different from who we were to who we are to where we're going to who we will be. And there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, you know what? My childhood was a little messed up. Everybody's was. Don't be, like, weird about it. Just fucking acknowledge it. Accept it. As soon as you do that, you can change what the problem is, so you don't give that to your kids or somebody else taking it on, or fucking hurting people, or being weird, or being in a vibration that keeps causing you to suffer in this lack and misery. Everybody wants to be amazing, and everybody wants to do amazing things and have amazing amounts of money and all this other shit, but you don't want to admit, like, where you might have been or are right now, because it's like, oh, I don't, like, you know, like, we got to do that. And I know, like, I've done it. I like, today is like, wow, oh my God, I'm waking up. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Having a lot of realizations. And that's okay, you know? So that's why I'm going to share this too, because, like, nobody's perfect. Nobody, and if anybody is pretending to be, they're going to eventually fuck up. Or they're going to eventually fall off of that little fake pedestal that they put themselves on. Nobody is okay 24/7. And nobody is happy 24/7. We have a full range of emotions because we need them. Maybe not as much as we did back in the day when there was fucking wild buffalo attacking you to be like, I'm gonna run. But like, you still might need to do that occasionally. Like if a fucking murderer shows up at your doorstep and is like, all right, my mom fucked me up enough to be a murderer, I'm coming in to kill you, you need to have the full spectrum of fuck. Like, and do some stuff, okay? If somebody breaks up with you that you really love, that you really want to be with, it's okay to be fucking miserable and sad for a while. But just don't stay there. If you don't resonate with the things that you hear other people say, but like there's a bunch of people who fucking do and are doing what those people say because they're still sheep and they still just do what they're fucking told, and the majority doesn't mean that you should accept it. You can even get frustrated about it. You can still be a spiritual person and have all of the full ranges of all these things happening and still be ascending and still be fucking 10 times better off than you were before. But you just need to accept you where you are, accept what you want to do, like, is probably evolve and grow and change and shift and heal and rise. And on the way there, some of us figure out how that's going to look. We don't know until we get there. We don't know who we are until we become them. Like people who are like at 18, you should fucking be like picking out your career and stuff. That's stupid, because you don't know who the fuck you're gonna be five weeks down the road. Like, you just need the freedom to realize, like, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Don't go wasting your money on a bunch of shit that you don't really want to do or feel on your core level. Like, I've always wanted to be this. And some people don't even really want to be those things that they think that they do. It's just that they heard their fucking parents slamming it into them since they were in the fucking womb, that that's what they were going to be, a doctor. Because dad's a doctor, and that dad's a doctor, and that guy was a doctor, and great was the first doctor ever. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. But some people will go do the whole fucking spiel, come out of the school, and be like, I really don't like this at all. And now I'm miserable for the rest of my life, and I have a fucking shit ton of debt because it's cost a lot of money to become a doctor. So, don't do stupid shit. Don't just follow along with what people want you to do. Do what feels good to do. And don't feel guilty about it. You know, I think the best way to figure out what we want is to just do some things, you know, until we're like, hey, this is the thing that I like to do, and I'm going to do it for a little while. And if I decide at some point I don't no longer like doing it, I'm not going to fucking do it anymore, because that's just stupid. So hopefully something within all of this mess is going to get like put together and posted and help serve in some fucking way. But I just wanted to like give you guys a little bit of like, hey, I think I'm having like another awakening, and because of that, I'm all over the place, full spectrum of emotions. You might cry, I definitely did. You may laugh, I don't know. You may unsubscribe, I don't know. You may think I'm just totally nuts, maybe I am. But it's totally like, just navigate through, man. Do what you want to do. It's probably gonna be a fucking couple hours, so if you clicked on it, you probably already knew that going in. Hey, this is like 2 hours, 3 hours. Enjoy. Okay, guys, so I had been inspired, or had a moment where I had a realization, and in that moment I felt like I needed to share the thing that I'm going to share, because I feel like a lot of people, especially empaths, struggle with a certain dynamic and certain things in our lives, but all people basically end up experiencing this, but I don't think they ever look at it in this way. And I know a lot of us try to figure out, like, how do I do XYZ? How do I get to where I want to be? How do I align with my purpose? How do I create the reality I want to have? How do I manifest XYZ, whatever it is? And today I actually was doing new paradigm stuff. Like, I spent a few hours channeling. I was in the vortex and bringing in that frequency and energy to activate somebody. And whenever I do that, it does a couple of things, because first of all, the new paradigm was something that I received years ago. You know, it's been a while now since I've had that, probably at least 6 years. And whenever I do it, it reminds me of times from then, and it also like will rekindle or spark something inside of me that I had once, resonated really hard with or needed at that time or was kind of connected to. And so the person that I was giving this to, um, they had, I can't remember exactly what they were saying, or whatever it was they want. I think it was basically like they're still trying to figure out, who they are or what they're trying to do, manifest this awakening thing, right? Like we're all awakening, we're all shifting, we're all becoming the master of our creation on this planet. But when we live in the vibration or the frequency of the thought and the feelings that go along with the thought that, like, I'm trying to do something, you're going to try to do it for a long ass time because you're never vibrating in the I'm there now. And then, for some reason, whatever I was saying to that person, I feel like it was like I was channeling, because sometimes when I talk to people and it's about spiritual stuff, they talk through me and I'm just like an observant of the words, and I'm like, and as I was saying stuff, I was like, you need Abraham or Esther Hicks. I was like, I think you need Esther Hicks, and she channels Abraham. So I pulled up one of her videos to send to them so that they would at least have the introduction to that energy and frequency and bring that in. Then when I got back to my house, I had one of her videos pop up, which I do have those pop up, here and there all the time. And it's always it's always aligned to what I'm going through or what I'm feeling or basically what I need to hear in the moment. So I will listen to them. I'm not like a avid, like, I gotta hear this every day type of person. I'm never like that anymore with anything, because I've realized how, like, usually the best messages that I get that are most confirming for me, or like, wow, that's what I needed, come on their own. I don't have to like seek them out. Sometimes I'll seek out something, but even in that, it's like I have that intention of, like, when I click onto here, they're gonna fucking show me what I need to know right now about what I'm like dealing with or what it is that's going on in my life, and pretty much always find it in one way or another. It may be like I listened to this girl who gives like relationship advice, but she's specifically talks about the attachment types and what this attachment type's core triggers are, and what this one's thing is, and what that one would do if they were dealing with that one, and how to do all the versions of all the questions that you could ever imagine to do with just specifically attachment types, the three ones that seem to come with like some issues. So, and the reason I do that is because I have my attachment, which we all have an attachment way or style that we connect with, but I want to learn how to like recognize my triggers, not go into my deactivating programming, not believe the things that I believe, or like catch on to the beliefs that I believe that are hindering things for me, and so I'm always trying to heal that part of myself and understand other people's things, because sometimes people present to me for a reading and they're very much this person, or they're dealing with that person, and knowing who they are, it helps me to help them get through that, or have like a, hey, you know what, like maybe you should try this, maybe you don't want to do that because that will be worse. Like so there's like things like that will come to help me. But then there's like the emissaries of light, the Pleiadians. Sometimes I sit down and I start writing a message, and they will bring me, the answer that I needed, or some like aha moment, or I will channel a poem, or I will, do something. I'll see like sometimes I stop tarot readings for a while, but sometimes I will, certain people that I know are of a good vibration and they're not coming at it with like, ego pursuit, if they pop up into my feed, and it's like the question is like specific, then I will, click through. It has to make sense. It has to like, it either has to be like, oh, this video, it's 33 minutes long and 33 seconds, and it says that question that you were just asking yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna click on that. So that's how I navigate things like that. But I was listening to Esther, or Abraham, through Esther, and she's talking about concepts that I know. You know, it's like I know these things, but sometimes we don't even realize like how significant stuff really is, or how it has really impacted us throughout our lives. And when I first woke up, I was with a narcissistic person, and he was very like, you can't like go do that, no way, what the hell, like you're gonna cheat on me, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, just basically projecting onto me the fears of what I might do, but it was based out of the things that they were actually doing. So like they didn't want me to get a job because they didn't want me to cheat on them, but you know, it was like they were cheating on me every day. And I'm like, oh. So anyways, I had my spiritual awakening while living with them. And I think they were a big part of why, because it's like you can only go so low, you can only hit so many fucking walls, you can only feel so miserable and desperate before you kind of are like, what is my purpose of life? Like, why am I living? What am, like, I can't take this anymore. Because not only did I have them, you know, in the past, I had somebody that was physically abusive and also manipulative and a liar and a freaking weirdo and just horribly not good. But all of that began because of my, you know, situation as a child and how I grew up. And I still have an issue even in verbalizing that, because I don't like to be like, oh, I don't like to say bad things about it, because it's not, I didn't have like, you know, it was not as bad as some people's lives have been. But it doesn't matter, really. Like, if we grew up with a parent who was narcissistic, or we grew up with a parent who's an alcoholic, or we grew up with a parent who's absent, or we grew up with a parent that was turned off, or whatever, they have no fucking emotional reactions, they have, like, no maturity in the way that they communicate, they have something going on that's just not like the others, then it's gonna mess you up. It's gonna do something to you. Because you're a child. You're not consciously like, hey, let me fucking not feed into what this person's doing. You're going to do and be a child. And you're going to be shaped by the people in your reality. And unfortunately, the people in my reality were not the best role models, or setting you up for, hey, you're going to go out into that world and you're going to find some really healthy, nice people that you resonate with, or that you allow into your life, because you're not going to be used to that. So what happens is we go to what we know, and we go to what we vibrate with, or frequencies, you know, are on a certain blah, 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 and then, you know, we find other blah, 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 and we go find them. Sometimes the people are going to be like, you know, the sufferers, like suffering the same things that you're suffering, and we all suffer, you suffer, I suffer, yay, we're friends. But then there's the vice versa thingy, where it's like, okay, not only are you going to maybe attract those people into your life, but you're also going to attract in the people who are like the ones who've caused your suffering, caused you some sort of, you know, pain and problem and trauma, karma, whatever. So a lot of us, like, if we grew up with parents that were a certain way, that's how we learn how to attach, because that's the first people we attach to. And if you had a parent that was not so good at that, or both parents who were not so good at that, and then step parents that added into the mix of all of that, you get some shitty situations going on with how you do. And in comes your partners that are now going to be very much like the connections that you have with your parents. I actually saw something recently, and it was one of those aha moments for me, because it's just like, it's such a subtle little thing, but it's a big thing, because I was reading like the old messages in my mother's Facebook Messenger, like between me and her, and it was like, I don't even, I sent something to my messenger from her messenger, because like I have her old phone, and sometimes like I will be using her old phone and I want to send me something on like to my account, because her Facebook is open on there, and I don't want to turn it off or like click out of it, because I don't want to like not be able to get back onto her account.
So that's like the main reason why it's like, oh, we only keep this on because it's no longer hooked up to her phone number. I'm not quite sure of the password, so we just always keep it on, okay? Um, but something was there, some picture, and I wanted to send it to me, so I did. Then I open it up in my phone and I start reading through, like I scanned back, and I was like, seeing the messages between me and her. And there was like one point where she sent me a picture of a car, and this is right after she got a settlement for a decent amount of money. I had gone and did this class action suit thing and sent all this information and went back and forth, and it took years. But finally, we had like $250,000 sent to her, and that was a whole ordeal in itself. But she sent me a picture of a car. It was like, "Would you drive this?" And I was like, "Yeah." But don't you think that maybe it's a little much because it's only $250,000 that she had, and she's supposed to keep this going for the rest of her life. We don't know how long she was going to live, and she was buying a place to live, which was going to be at least $100,000, and so that's half the money right there. And the car that she was looking at was like, it's just she didn't need that car, like she. And I didn't want her to have to live in a vibration of lack or like less than or whatever. But the fucking car was way overpriced, and it wasn't even that nice. It was like, don't you think we should look for something different? But she was very much one of those people that was like in the vibration of, I need the thing that looks great, like I want the Coach label, I want the whatever, I want to pay extra for the stupid fucking thing that says that thing on it that really doesn't amount to anything. If we came into this planet and we weren't bombarded with all this fake bullshit from the day that we were born, all this programming of, hey, look at this thing that you want, or this body that you can't ever manifest. You can never manifest this because it's not real. It's literally probably been, under operation. And then after that, it went through alteration through the Photoshop, and now you're looking at it all airbrushed and polished up and whatever. You're never going to attain it, even if you try really hard, visualize all you can, do all the healthy workouts and all of that. Closest you're going to get is to making alterations to your body through surgery and all of that, and then you're having to add the Photoshop to it. So we have all of these things in our idea, in our mind of we want that thing out there, this fucking fake false version of something that is not existing. And then we get upset when we can't manifest these things into our lives. Why can't I just fucking have that thing that I would really like? Because that thing doesn't even exist. That's not a creation that's manifested into reality on a true vibration of what is real. So you can't get it because it's not available. And then, they'll put cereal and they pour glue for the milk, because then the cereal stays on top and it looks nice and white, and it's like, oh, pretty, and they can move it around and shit, and it doesn't have a problem. And that's for the marketings of the cereal. But then on Sunday morning when you pour your thing, it don't look like the cereal on the bowl and on the box, and everybody's happy and crunch the whole time because it got soggy because it's in the milk, and milk ain't that white. Why is it not it's not real. It's not attainable. It's fake. It's false. It's burp, nope, never gonna happen. But you're bombarded from the day that you're born with all of these fake illusions, all of these things that we think that we need to have or be or become or want. And, oh, luxury. Just the freaking word luxury. It's a luxury vehicle. It's a luxury bag. It's a luxury whatever the hell it is. Saying that literally doesn't change what the item is. It changes the perception of the item. It changes you and how you feel about it. Audi, Volkswagen are the same freaking thing. One is a luxury vehicle, so people pay more for that emblem, and they get the same exact car as the other thing, and it's stupid. Same thing with a bag. You go get those knockoff bags, there's people, you can't tell the difference because it's not different. It's not. Then some people will argue, oh, it's a better quality or whatever, it's going to last longer. A lot of times that's not even true. A lot of times it's the same quality, it's the same thing, but they want you to think that. Because if you think that, you believe that, you'll spend more on it and you'll value it more because it said luxury on it. So we don't want to do that to ourselves. But the real thing I wanted to mention was I noticed this thing. Okay, so basically, I had my spiritual awakening and I lived with that person that didn't want me to work, didn't want me to get the hell away from like that situation that we were in. They were going to, make it very difficult for me to just like do what I needed to do to leave. They didn't want me to leave. So it was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not leaving right now. But instead of focusing on that or focusing on the problem so much, I started focusing on solutions to my situation. First, it started off with like, all right, I gotta get a like computer and I gotta like find a way to make money from home. So I manifested that pretty quickly because like it wasn't long, and then I got a huge computer thing and set up the basement, and I was down there and I was studying and I was learning a lot. And I was like listening to channeling and listening to, these like things about spirituality and awakening and consciousness and creating and manifesting and Pleiadian channeling and all of these things. And then also like teaching myself how to build a website and how to do copywriting, like the tactics of that, and marketing and advertising, and social media marketing, and becoming an affiliate marketer, and doing this and doing that, blogging, and whatever the hell it was or could be, or possible likelihood that you can make some money from doing that at home. I studied and looked and explored, and I never spent a dime. That was the thing. My mom had been like a little obsessive when she was at one point, like, I don't know, she got a computer at one point, and she was the spam person's best friend, because like anybody out there that sent her like a hey, but sounds wonderful and good to be, no, it's too good to be true, isn't it? Yeah, we're gonna send that to you now. And she would be like, oh my god, click buy, and then I'm so sad that it didn't work out. Wasted a lot of fucking money. But I saw that and was like, don't do that, because that's not going to help. So I basically would find ways to get things free or not have to pay very much for like something of value. And I would like, weigh the pros and cons and how much do I need this or don't need this, and can I teach myself this by seeking out the information in other ways without like thinking that this program here is going to be the only way to have it. So I'm still like that. Like, if I think I can get to the solution without having to spend a lot of money on it, I will. And I'll do the little extra footwork, I'll make an extra email account, I'll do the things I need to do, because sometimes you only need a program for fucking one thing to get you to the like finish line, and they have like a 30-day free trial. Do the free trial and get rid of it. Don't buy it. Like, just do the smart fucking shit that you need to do to take advantage of the things that are available to you, without like sometimes you need to put in a credit card. Get one that's not like attached to anything, so that you're not like losing money when if they do happen to like charge it or something. There's throwaway cards at stores. You do have to like activate them with a little bit of money, but like invest in that so that you have that to use in cases like this. Like, maybe I'm gonna forget and they're gonna charge me $80. Not if there's not $80 on the card. And at least you have that to get yourself on these things. And you don't have to be somebody with amazing credit to get that, It's like, just use what you have available to get you where you want to go. But I started doing that stuff. Started figuring it out. Learning, growing, awakening, meditating. And then I went to that spit center down the street from me. I was like guided to go there. And it was, the person had a horrible website. Like, I thought it was the first thing I noticed was like, whoa, this is a really bad website. Like, I need help. Basically, every page was different from the other. There was different fonts on every page, and like, really not like, because like I sometimes will have a different font here and there, but like this was really obvious. Like, some pages it was like 88 point size on the lettering, and then the next page it was like, what does that say? And some of them were like all like cursively done, and some were just like all print, and I'm like, what is going on? And there's pictures just randomly all over the place, and it was just not good. And nobody could find anything or get help or want to go there now. Like, let me go to that place, because people perceive things good or bad. And if they've seen a good website and then they go to that thing, they're going to be like, I don't think I want to go there, because they're going to equate the website to the person. I know better than that. I know that, you know what, that probably means that what she does do energetically, spiritually, makes her probably even better at that, because she really can't do this. But some people, they shine over here. Over here, not so much. Spiritual people, they're really good, shining in one little, be a widow, tap into the frequencies and heal and ascend and grow and make beautiful, intricate art and whatever it is. But you want them to go create a new account and set up some stuff that's requires logical left brain, and it's they don't function. So it's not meaning that they can't do their work well, but unfortunately the majority of the population has been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't look beautiful and it is not cohesive and it's not put out there correctly or in the way that's society's standards, that it's not good, or it's less than the other place that actually has a website that looks like, wow, you can navigate through here and read everything, and you know what they're doing. So keep that in mind. Keep those things in mind. Don't start being aware of when you are using your preconceived shit to make snap judgments about things, but also be aware of where's the opportunity for me here, always, because that was my opportunity to get to those classes into that place, because I know I can design a website that's going to look a hell of a lot better than what was happening. I know I have the brain to sit down and do what needs to be done to help them publish and post and get stuff going. So barter for that, barter. Here we go. Now I'm getting in there. Now I'm getting this stuff going. And for some reason, and I believe this is this is part of it. This is the universe conspiring, because you're doing what you need to do to make a difference in your life. He didn't care. For the first time ever, it was yeah, sure, whatever. What? You don't care that I'm going to do something? And I also did it differently. I wasn't I'm thinking about getting a job over here. It was hey, I went to that place today, and her website is really messed up. So I'm going to barter with her, and she's going to give me Reiki, and I'm going to make her website and help her with this. And it just evolved slowly. So it wasn't a big boom, I'm starting this job on Monday. I'm going to be gone 5 days of the week, and which is what became of it. And it was a very huge, intricate part of my life. It took me away from him a lot, or the house, because he was never there to begin with. It was he just wanted to know that I was there in the house, locked down, no car, no bank, no money, no nothing. Couldn't do anything except for sit there and be so that changed, and it was changing over time. And as time went on, I was progressing, and I was affirming, and I was writing affirmations, and I was writing gratitude lists, and I was doing all of these things, and new opportunities were presenting, and the Mureiki came into my world, and then these other people come into my world, and spirits bringing me things, and I'm learning stuff, and I'm channeling stuff, and our frequency is shifting, and I'm shifting, and I'm a totally different person than who I was, every day is just getting better and better. And I was actually doing really good, and I wasn't even getting triggered by him anymore. I didn't care anymore at all. It was I knew what he was doing and where he was doing it, and I didn't care. I just it was it shut off. I'm not really here. I'm here, but I've already checked out, and I can smile and pretend just to keep things great and good, but I know I'm gonna be not here. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know exact details of the stuff that was going to manifest in my life, but I knew, and I had already known for a while, pretty much day one, that he was not the person that I was going to spend my life with. I knew that. I was it was just, I just knew. And I didn't really think about when I was going to leave, or how I was going to leave, or what all that looked like, or things like that. But today I'm thinking, when we are in a vibrational match or something, that's when it shows up in our reality. When we start to vibrate at a different frequency, that's when things change. And the whole time that we lived there, he was basically like going to court for this thing. And like, there was a part of me that knew, like, I knew that he was probably going to go to jail. But there was like, he was so good at lying, and he was so good at manipulating. He was so good at, you know, getting his way with shit that I was like, I don't know, he might actually get away with not going, you know, coming out of there. But then he made really stupid, like, big ego fucking decisions, because that's what he would do. So he was like, I'm going to fucking defend myself. Because he had gotten this lawyer and he got that lawyer, and none of them ever worked out, you know. His parents would pay all this money to get to this guy or have that guy or do this thing, get a retainer, and then we're not using them anymore because they're the problem. No, the common denominator is you, and that there's a big issue here, and nobody wants to like face it, and they're like trying to like pull out shit from like the 1900s of like, oh, some crappy word thing that's like, this is gonna fix it all, and they would like, you know, present this to the lawyer and be like, hey, and they were always focused on the prosecution and the cops and like what they did wrong and blah, blah, blah. Which, yeah, it's a great focus if like it's gonna get to the result of fixing things. But like, there was such a stretch on stuff, and there was such a like, that didn't happen, you're just living in a reality where you want that to be the case, and you're just trying to like force it. It's not like, it's gonna waste time. Nobody's gonna say anything about it that's gonna be anything positive for you. You're just gonna be stupid. Don't do that. And then they'd be like, we're gonna fire that person and we're gonna do it ourselves. Okay, good luck. But I raised my vibration so much, I was no longer a match for the experience of being with him. So much to the point that the universe created a new experience where I was free. He went to jail, and I got to go and be in a beautiful house, gorgeous water view. After 4 years of living in a basement with all of my stuff in storage, with no like hope, it was so bad. This has been happening where I get very emotional, and it's not like I don't know what I am, but it keeps happening randomly out of nowhere. And I know this whole thing, right, like manifesting my new frequency where I was happy than I had been, and I was no longer just accepting the reality that I was in of like, I have to be here with this person or let them do what they had done anymore. And I got to leave, and I got to go have wonderful new things. And even when I was there, I manifested wonderful new things that changed my life and made it easier to live. I also had this happen with my community, and I didn't notice, like, at the time. I don't even think I really noticed until tonight, like, this whole concept. I never thought of this consciously of like, hey, you know, what happened there? Like, it just happened. I was just there. I was just a part of the experience, which we always are. But when we are more consciously creating our reality, and we're doing the things that we need to do to get to where we want to go, it will happen. But we have to believe it, and we have to like make moves, think the thoughts, feel the feelings, vibrate the vibrations, so that we can go to where we need to go. One of the things that was really hard, when you have a spiritual awakening, it's like, oh my God, everything, all that suffering and all the pain can go away for a little bit. You're happy. Because now it's like, oh my god, like there's a purpose, there's a meaning. I have a purpose and I have a meaning. We're here for a reason. And that inspires you to make changes and get better and do things that need to be done. You probably put people on a pedestal. And over time, you might have bad experiences again. Or what we perceive as bad, or what we perceive as something like, I really wish that didn't happen, or I didn't expect that to be the outcome, or who would have thought that, Miss Love and Light would be the one that would, do that thing that would be so mean or so hard to deal with. But unfortunately, spiritual people aren't elevated in any way. They're not God on earth. They're only as good as like who we are inside and our like self, who we are at our core. If you're not a good person at your core, you can fucking slap some spiritual shit on it. You're still gonna be a piece of shit. And that's unfortunately a decision that people make, I think, because I have not been able to ever understand the people who suffer and struggle and then do that to other people. Anything I've had done to me has made me want to help other people that have had it done to them. If it's hurt me, I've tried to help other people to not be hurt by it. It just seems like the right thing to do. I don't know. Nobody taught me that because I didn't have that for parenting. Like, my mother was very narcissistic, self-serving. She was a victim. She was sick. She was not okay on a lot of levels. But she was also, I feel like she was just a young soul. Like, she hadn't spent many times here or something. I don't know. But even when the things that we go through hurt and are really bad, or they seem to be really bad, sometimes they're just redirecting us because we're ready for the next thing. Or because we are no longer able to live in that lie anymore, that illusion, or we need to wake up from the illusion. We need to see the truth of what's actually there. When I woke up, there was this glimmer and gold, shiny syndrome about spirituality, awakening, people in the spiritual community. Ooh. My Reiki teacher, or my, person that I had followed, because every time they posted, it was like inspiring or something along those lines. I was very naive, and I didn't prepare myself in any way for what did actually end up happening. And I know what ended up happening is a mix of things. Some of it was because it was a lesson I needed to learn. It's a reflection of my wounds and my programming and my things that I do that I should not do, or like think that I shouldn't think, and all of that. And I had the same situation play out 2 times at 2 different places with people. They weren't exactly the same thing, but it was very much similar. First place I went to, I walked in and everything was great in the beginning, and I was like, oh my god, and I became that person's right hand man. I was their best thing that ever happened, because I was helping and I was doing and I was creating and I was manifesting and I was attracting things, and their abundance was coming, and their website looked great, and their posting is getting done, and their events are all set up, and people are showing up out of other places, and wow, and it was just good job, But what a lot of times happens with me that I've noticed is like, people either love me or hate me, and some people love me and then they hate me because they love when I can help them. They love when I can give them things and do the things that I'm doing to help them. But if I do things to help me, and then we start to see results of that, or things are getting easier or better in my life somehow, there's been like this reoccurring theme from my mom and then other women, but they don't want that to be the case. So, as long as I was like, suffering and struggling and doing all I could to make their lives better, make it easier for them, then I was acceptable and it was okay. But there was like a limit on how much was okay for me to have. Even in the end of the first place, so the first place I went, I was doing this and that and the other thing, and I didn't put a high ticket on anything I was doing because I was not a professional person. I didn't go to school for this shit, but I taught myself it, I know it, and I could do it, and I did it, and we saw the results of it. And it was much better than what was there or what that person had been doing prior to. But I didn't place a big value on what I was doing, and I should have anyway, but I didn't. But even when I did place out for the value, they didn't honor that. They were supposed to give me Reiki 1, I had paid for Reiki 1. So I was supposed to get Reiki 2, Reiki Master, and I was supposed to get the new Paradigm Master Teacher and the new, something else, but I still had to pay for the certificates and the manual, which is the only part that, when you teach the new Paradigm, you've got to call up, you've got to order those two things. All the rest of it is on you. So that was part of it. It was like, I'll give you the new Paradigm and the Master Teacher. I'll give you the Reiki 2 and the Reiki Master Teacher. You just gotta pay for the certificates and the manuals. But, I was to come, basically, when I came up with the amount of money that I needed to, take to be compensated for building their website, creating the content on the website, choosing all this stuff that they would never choose or do, and then running the center when they were not there. Those things I didn't even charge for. I would just go to the event that was being held, and I would, hello, welcome everybody, and take their money and put it in the drawer, and welcome them in, and clean up afterwards, set it up before they get there, do all of the things that the owner of the center usually would do for free. And then, when I started using the center, I was paying, even though they were owing, which is stupid, 30% of whatever I made. So if I had 5 people come in to learn the Muneiki, and each person paid $333, they got 30% of all of that, while still owing me. If they had just not done that part, I could have worked and made back what they owed to me out of the 30% quickly. But because I'm freaking good, it was more beneficial for them to take that money and keep putting off my movement forward. So I didn't get my Reiki Master from them. By the time I left and I gave up on receiving what I was going to get from them in compensation towards the $1,000 at least that was owed at that time, and mind you, it's like $300 or $400 to get your Reiki Master, so that wouldn't have even hit, the whole thing. I never got my animal communication class. I never got, the things that I was supposed to get. Anyways, I had the realization that, community, people, all of these things, it's all a part of the journey and who you are becoming in a spiritual journey, at least in my opinion, lately, is an inward journey, and it's a solo journey. It's great to have a community, but I think something that a lot of us are going to learn is that there's not a lot of people out there that are going to be good people like you are. or they're not going to love the way that you love, or they're not going to like things that you like, or they're not going to want the best for you like you do. I think star seeds care. I think there are really good people, and I think I have some in my vicinity, and I've met, really good, caring, loving people. They are there. They do exist. They're not gonna, turn on you. They're not gonna hurt you intentionally. They're not gonna be jealous and, sabotage your stuff or try to keep you under a certain level of, where they're comfortable with you being, which seems to be like, just a core wound that I have from childhood, because my mother never wanted me to be, doing too well. I did anyways. It was so hard, because it was like the better I was doing, the less she was happy about it. And I didn't understand, so I would try harder, and that would only cause more divide, or cause bigger, like, resentment or jealousy or whatever. And that has shown up a lot in my relationships with other people. Like, the first place that I worked at, when I went in, we became like best buddies. I was their, person. I was doing it all for them. I was helping them, and they were growing, and they were happy, and everything was great. And then, now it's time for, like, all that work that I did for you to get compensated. But that didn't happen. I left without ever getting my Reiki Master Teacher certificate, because they never let that class happen. They were, not enough people signed up, or I had to change the date, and it would get put off and pushed down and farther away each time. Or the animal communication, like, we were going to do that, and then it never happened. And now, I understand if, like, I'm excited about taking a class from you, and I'm going to pay for the class, but nobody else signed up. Okay, that I understand that. Like, I guess I'll wait, try it again. But if you owe me over $1,000 or whatever, and I'm still working on stuff every week, putting posts out every week, creating events every week, editing the website, and also every week, once I started making events myself, paying you 30% of what I am making in your space, I think that it shouldn't matter if anybody else signed up. I think it should be that I told you I was going to give you this class because of all that you've done. Let me do that. Or don't pay me the 30% that you've been giving to me out of the money that you've been making here until we're caught up, or to cover this amount, or to just make some attempt at actually showing value on me. Never happened. So I had to leave. And I went to the next place. And it was good in the beginning because they were paying me. They valued me. $15 an hour to do their website stuff and to post on Facebook and to, create the events every month. And then I would go in and I would work in their space, and I would give them 40% of whatever I made while I was there. And sometimes they would say keep it, because they didn't need it. They lived with somebody, they were well off, it was in their house, there was no overhead. It was like, this is just my fun playtime, basically, is what the place was for them. They had infinite tools, infinite stuff. It was just a game to them. They didn't really, it wasn't like, I need this business to run in order for my life to be well off, because they had the freedom. They just drove around wherever they wanted to go. Every day was a new adventure, and, that was it. So it was easier for them. The first person didn't have that situation. The first person struggled, and I think that's why I stayed so long, and that's why I put up with so much, because they would use that to their advantage, because I care about people. and I try to help them. But what happened with the second place was everything was fine and everything was good. They went from only having like 1 or 2 events a month to 2 to 3 events a day sometimes. New people coming out of the woodworks. But then, when things started to really get better for me, and I wasn't solely like so focused on everybody else all the time, because I had no choice. I had to pay to live in the places that I was going to now live. Before, when I was in the basement and I had no money and I had no car and I had no bank account, I got used to that life. So it was in that vibrational frequency. And it was not uncommon for me to like not know how I was going to like eat that day or whatever. But I shifted up out of there, and I shifted my frequency, my energy, my focus so much, they finally like came in and removed that fucker and put him in jail so that I could get out of there and leave and have my freedom. And all of these people, these women who called themselves my spiritual mom, my best friend, people that really loved me, wanted me to do good, that were all of love and light, really super conscious, caring souls, they abandoned me. And I know some of it was influenced by one person, but the influence of that person was only because of money. It was only because if I do this, if I stay friends with you and talk to you, she's not gonna like it. And I still want to come here and run my events or be a part of that fair and make the money that I make when I do kind of come here. So they basically chose money over like, friendship, love, support. And nobody, I don't know, like, I don't know if that person had said to them, like, if you talk to her, you stay communicating with her, I don't want to talk to you. I don't know, because nobody filled me in on anything. Nobody said shit to me. I asked several times as it was coming, because they knew it was coming. And I had people tell me I was fucking crazy. I'm not crazy, and I know. I've always known, because I had no fucking choice as a child. Like, an empath becomes an empath because they have to be on high alert. They have to know the room, the energy of that person and that person and that person. Because one of them could just flip the script and come attack you, or be crazy, or that person might be out for you. They're going to do something bad. And the only reason I have that is because I had to live in an unpredictable, volatile environment as a child with my mother and my dad. And my dad was more so abandonment, because he left and abandoned us. But he was an alcoholic as well, so sometimes he was the fucking one that was all whoopy and weird. But she was just a hot boop boop boop. We never knew what was going to happen. But me, like, getting, a little bit of people online supporting me, somebody showed up, they drove a couple of hours to come see me at that center. I felt it the day that I told them. Oh my God, I'm so happy and excited that would happen. I can't believe that happened, that person would drive to see me. The vibration, the frequency, the chord, I can feel it. I know when people are like, good for you, like, they don't really, like, it's not, no, a lot of people don't care. They're not going to support you. They're going to feel like, fuck you. I'm jealous, or that doesn't make me happy, or that, like, somehow takes away from my fucking whole shit thing that I got going on. I don't know. But it happened like that. And as time went on, and I would do, like, the things that I was doing, I did start to, like, occasionally have stuff at my place that I was living on the water, but it wasn't really a conducive environment to, like, be, like, having massive amounts of stuff or massive amounts of people, but it was a good place to have stuff occasionally that I didn't have to pay 40% of what I made to somebody else. So, yeah, I did that a few times, because I had to pay rent now. I had to pay for my car now. I had to pay for my phone now. I had to pay to survive now. Like, a whole thing. A whole bunch of it. was no longer in a basement where I could just be there, not paying rent and not having bills and not having that stuff, which wasn't good because I like didn't have anything. It was just existing where that person wanted me to exist, and they were fine because they would go upstairs and eat the food out of their moms and hang out with everybody up there in the heated nice place and have their kids come there, and it was like I was in a whole other fucking dungeon world by myself, cold, hungry, miserable. So I needed to get out of there. So I started affirming and manifesting and attracting, and I did do it, but I also met these other people and these other people on the way who like were very good for my transition up and out, but they weren't able to remain once I reached a certain frequency. And it's like, it's really hard because like, it's like you get to choose. Do I stay at this frequency of not my potential so that I can have people? Or do I embody the frequency of success and of good and of what I deserve and let them do what they do and go away, because I deserve to have good things and I deserve my life to get better. But it might get lonely. So it's hard. Nobody is exempt from these lessons. It hurts. It's hard to like sometimes want good things or to even tell people things because they don't really care. They don't want you to have that. Some do, but a lot of people, it's like to an extent. They only want like you to get to so far. And once you hit the so far, they're not going to want you anymore. I've seen it again. Like, there's people out there who will love you, who will resonate with you. It's going to be great. And then there's going to be something at some point while you keep rising. If they don't stay with you, if they don't manifest with you, if they're not getting the same results, they're going to resent you. They're not going to like you, and they're going to want to knock you off of your fucking pedestal. And just their outside energy, just their like glare, evil eye, it does throw you off. And I'm aware of it now because I'm super hyper fucking focused on like protection and like who like I can't help it. I know, I feel it, I can sense it, and I'm like, I get confused sometimes because I'm like, why are you here? You don't want to be here. You don't really like me. Like, I can tell you don't like me. I can feel how much resentment or jealousy or bitterness or anger or whatever you got going on. So, instead of like doing that and like suffering and struggling and like putting yourself into that position of like, let me go hang out with that person that I really don't like don't ever do that. It's not and if somebody's success, if somebody's good things trigger you to start feeling like jealous and resentful of them, that's not healthy. That's not okay. Like, I get it, because I've had it happen. Like, I'm not going to lie and say that I've never been like, wow. Like, but I've never had it happen to the point where I let it interfere with caring or being somebody that was, like, still nice to that person. Like I can't, I don't understand. And that's why I feel like starseeds are different breeds, because I know I would be safe with a starseed. I know I could tell a starseed, like, oh my god, like, I did this thing, and because I did this thing, this is happening, and that's happening, and blah 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 blah, and they would be like, oh my god, even if they were like a little jealous or a little whatever about it, I don't think that they would I don't think they would try to, like, sabotage it or be mad at me or jealous or whatever. Even if they had some of that stuff come up, they would be like, I gotta work on that. Like, I can't believe that's coming up in me. Oh my God. Like, they would want to change it because they know it's not healthy. Ego, don't do that. Some people just don't know how to even, I don't even think they recognize it in some people, because I feel it and I know it and I recognize it. But yet again, like, then it's almost like they they like you still, but they're gonna pretend, or so, I don't know. It's like they I'm gonna disassociate a little bit from the fact that you have that reality going on that triggers me to not like you, so that I can stay here and maybe figure out what you're doing, or maybe benefit somehow, that knowing you might help me to get to where I want to go. So then you have these people who are trying to benefit in some way by what you have and all the information and the wisdom that you're acknowledging and sharing, but they're not valuing it still. So we have this problem with value. We have this problem with integrity. We have this problem with communicating. We have this problem with empathy and just fucking human decency. I don't even think it should be called human decency, because I have yet to see much of that here. But I know there are people with it, and I know there's really good people out there, and I know a lot of people out there who are empaths, who are star seeds. You've come here, and you've suffered, and you struggled, and you went through a lot, because we signed up to do it, to go through it, to get to the other side of it, so we can help other people to get to the other side of it, so that we can help this world to stop doing so much stuff that's happening. But it's like getting out of control. I basically wanted to just share that if you are in a reality, I wanted to share that if anybody was in a reality that they didn't want to be in, or they felt stuck, or they had some sort of abuse or pain or something that was not easy to navigate, I wanted them to realize that it just takes a matter of them shifting their frequency so that they don't remain where they are. When I shifted my frequency, when I shifted my focus, when I did the work, and I trusted and I asked for help from my emissaries of light, I said, show me, please show me, please show me. They did. But it was you still have to go through more. And you're not gonna ever find a completely safe haven of humans that I have found yet that will be all 100% good to you, for you. But even the ones that hurt you, that don't like you, that cause pain and suffering and struggle and whatever else they do, those people, they don't matter. They do because you learn a lesson. It makes you stronger. It gives you the power that you need to do whatever you gotta do. I am grateful that I met everybody I met. If I never met that first person at that first center, I would not have learned anything that I had learned to get to the next situation, that I got to the next situation, to the next situation, to the place where I am now. And even now, I still struggle, and I still suffer, and I still hurt a lot. All the time. Because it's part of the human thing. It's just part of life. We're never gonna be completely sheltered and safe and in some little egg that's gonna be crack proof or whatever. We get cracked open over and over and over again. And hopefully other people will go through those experiences and learn something, and learn to not be mean or take it out on other people or cause other people pain because they had pain. Take what you've been through and turn it into something good. Guide other people into better. Be the person that you needed so that we get more of those people. And more of them, and more of them. Create children that are going to be good people. Don't fuck them up. So that they don't go out and fuck other people up. And it doesn't go this domino effect that we have happening all the time. Heal from your wounds. Heal from your shit. Change your beliefs. Change your life by your feelings, your emotions, and your thoughts. And if you're just not happy where you are, or with what you're doing, or where you like perceive yourself to be in this big huge thing of whatever, find out why that is, where that is inside of you, and start working on just accepting you right now, who you are, and knowing that you are good enough. You are okay. You deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve good stuff. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be supported. You deserve everything that you want. And as long as you're a good person, and you do what you need to do with integrity and empathy, you'll get good things back, and you'll meet good people. And sometimes there's going to be people mixed in there that are not maybe the best. And they may be a part of your story for a little while, and they may benefit you for a while, and then they may do something bad, or like you get to the breaking point where they can't be there anymore. Don't take that to mean like there's something wrong with you. And don't let them keep you from going to the next place, because you deserve to go to the next place. We all deserve to keep ascending and growing and having like good stuff. And I'm not going to let anybody keep me from that anymore, ever again. I think it's a big reason why I've stopped like even leaving the house often or communicating with others, because I don't trust a lot of people anymore. Or I really have decided I don't like to be hurt over and over. Having the spiritual community do what they did in 2 different places, and then having women 60 years old and over act like a child or act like a teenager right at the same time as my mother dying. It was a lot. And I know it's part of the path, and I know it was to make me smarter and wiser. It was to do what I needed to have done so that I can go to where I'm going and become who I'm becoming, so I can help serve. So I'm going to keep doing that. I don't care if people get jealous. I don't care if people don't like it. I don't care if it's really fucking hard sometimes. I don't care. Because I know I'm doing the right thing. Because I keep getting shown that I'm doing the right thing. And I keep having things change in my life that help me to confirm things that I'm like, okay, I'm not a crazy person. I'm not stupid. I'm not that whatever. I deserve to go to the next level, and I deserve to have all of these things get better in my life, and I'm going to allow that to happen regardless. Sometimes though we have to deal with people, but that doesn't mean forever. Just have boundaries, have self-respect, and if you feel like you're not happy where you are, change the focus from I'm not happy where I am to I'm working on the solution here. I'm going to get to where I need to go so that I can create the life that I want to have. Affirm it, see it, believe it, trust it, know it on all levels. Gratitude, grateful for everything you have right now, because it's going to attract more to be grateful for. And just recognize the frequency of things. I'm no longer a vibrational match for that community. But hey, it propelled me to 100,000 people in the world now supporting me. That's much better. And where is this going to go? Probably much better. But I need to believe that, see that, feel that, and remove the things from my life that don't feel good, and remove the people from my life that don't want that to happen for me, and keep making those difficult experiences play out, because as I rise up and I shift my frequency and I keep going up, anybody that's down here or isn't a vibrational match is going to keep going away. And that's just something that we have to accept, but use to our advantage. get the hell out of places and people and situations by being a different frequency from the one that you're in, that's existing at that level of existence that you don't want to be existing in. So that was the message I wanted to share with people. I didn't expect it to get bigger or so like emotional, but I don't know. I just know lately that's how life has been.
So in the recording, I ended up getting taken off of my original thing, and more information came through that I'm still going to share and is relevant in the big scheme of things. But basically, I noticed a little pattern with my messaging between me and my mom. She had sent me like a thing asking about some car. Would you drive this? And I was like, yeah, and whatever. But then I was like, what do you think? Maybe we should look for something a little less money. Like, I don't think you need to have that label, because that label is going to cost a lot more, and you're not really in the position to be doing that right now. She didn't like that answer, so she didn't answer me at all and just left, the conversation high and dry, no response. And I saw that in there a few times where she did that to me, where she was in the hospital, or she was at this place, or whatever place, and she was not happy about something. If I said something that didn't necessarily get the response from her, or get the response that she wanted for herself to, receive in that moment, whatever it was, she just shut off and disconnected from the communication, and basically ghosted. She just ghosted the conversation. She's gone for days. And I realized in that moment, oh my God, that's why in my relationships in the past, my narcissistic ex, or this person that I have whatever situation, or even myself, how I maybe cope with things that I don't like or whatever, I've noticed, wow, that's really not healthy, and it's not the most mature response to just no, I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you said something I don't like. And maybe it's true, and maybe it's the healthy thing or the smart thing, or in my best benefit, but I'm gonna choose to just boop out of here. And I didn't ever acknowledge or notice or even be like, whatever, because I was used to it, because that's how she shaped my world to be with her, because it's how she was as a person. And because of that, I now sometimes have those things play out with other places and people, and even how I am in response sometimes to other people. And that's not okay. If somebody says something we don't like, but we know maybe they're saying it because they care, or because they're trying to help in some way, the best thing to do is to maybe verbalize, well, yeah, whatever, just verbalize, just communicate, just be an adult. Don't shut down and turn off just because you don't like something or whatever. So I don't know, it was like an aha moment for me, because I've had a lot of times and a lot of people do those things, or that had that type of dynamic play out, and I recognized in the moment, wow, I've let this happen to me so many times without even noticing it, or speaking up and saying hey, when you just leave a conversation and don't respond to me because what I said, maybe you didn't necessarily really like that response, or you didn't necessarily agree with me, instead of shutting down like a 2-year-old and silencing and stonewalling me, you could communicate your feelings or your opinion, or say, what, it's still the one I really want, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's just choosing to be in communication about what's happening. So now I have a problem in my life when I try to deal with people and there's something going on between us, and I might want to say something. I can't. I a lot of times don't speak about how I'm feeling or what I need or what I want, because nobody made that available. Nobody gave me those prompts or that safe place to be heard, to be valued, to be respected, to be treated with, maturity, or just like understanding. And I've seen this thing, in my family and in my life and in my family members and in my relationships with other people. It has caused a big problem, because then what if I meet somebody who is not a bad person, but maybe they've had things happen to them and they maybe don't have the best tools because nobody gave them those tools or that safe place or the way to navigate simple things like a text or talk or interaction with another person, when maybe the topic isn't going to be something easy, or maybe the topic is going to, venture into places where opinions differ because of how that person grew up, because of how I grew up. That's going to play a part into how we're going to communicate with each other. And if we don't have healthy ways to do that, or we're afraid to verbalize our stance on something, or we're afraid to rock the boat, or we're afraid of what the result might be, we probably are going to choose to silence ourselves, or we're going to choose to, just like ghost out of there and say nothing at all, which I just had happen recently with somebody. That I had an issue with somebody, and I don't even remember exactly. Oh, they kind of had like a thing go down, and it was like, wow, like that's not cool. And I have been hurt by so many people at this point that it's like I almost am like, whatever, it's like just another time. But they wanted to like communicate with me, like have a talk with me, and I kept like not wanting to, like it's not even that I didn't want to, it's just like, not right now, maybe tomorrow, another time. Like I kept putting it off. And I would have probably gone forever putting it off, because I'm not used to, hey, we had an issue, let's talk it out, let's find a solution, or let me listen to your apology, or let me even expect an apology, because I've never gotten them, or saw that play out, that dynamic of, wow, like if somebody hurts your feelings, or somebody acts in a way that's maybe triggered by something that they're going through or whatever, they may not be having the healthiest experience in that moment when they do something to you, and you might have a falling out, or you might have a problem, or you might have a difference of opinion, or you might, have something where things kind of get bumpy or hurt or problematic. If you decide to not communicate with those people because you don't know how, or because it's just not easy right now, or you've never been shown how to, or I can put it off for 1,000, 1,000,000 things for the rest of my life. Of course I can do that. Instead of doing that and taking the moment to be like, wow, like that hurt me, let's take like a little time to breathe, let's get our selves grounded, let's get ourselves back into the moment of I'm in a good place, you're in an okay place, like we're not in the heightened energy of I'm pissed off because you did that thing, and you're not in the place of whatever you were in to get you to do that thing. Now let's come back, communicate with each other, give that space for somebody to do it, and acknowledge whatever it is, because that's something too I've noticed in my dynamics with people, is like we might choose to still connect with each other because we care about each other and we want to spend time together and we like that person, but maybe we don't acknowledge the problem that there is, or the issue that we had, or something in the way of making it so that we communicated it, agreed on a solution of how we can come to terms with what just played out, or how we should move forward from here so that doesn't happen again. Or even if it's a decision of maybe we just need to like not do that, or not, continue on with the thing that we're doing, or whatever it is. It depends on the situation. But at some point, like, people need to just have the conversations and have the skills and the time, because what ended up happening is that person, kept asking me to communicate with them, and I kept avoiding it and ignoring it and like running from it. And then finally they found a solution to that problem, and they showed up to a thing where I was like live with other people, and they stayed until the end and decided that's how they were going to communicate with me. It's like, I'm just going to stay at the end of this event when everybody else clicks off, and I'm going to talk to you then. So that's how it played out. If they didn't do that, I probably never would have gotten to the conversation. I mean, I might have, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, the point of the matter is seeing that thing with my mother, seeing how I've been with other people, knowing how I felt when, like, sometimes I would deal with a person and they just disappear and they don't answer the text. It's like, a lot of people in this world have not dealt with that. If they have not dealt with that, like if their mother didn't normally like ghost them in the middle of a conversation all the time when it was like a little inconvenient for them, or if their parents didn't do the things that led to certain things happening or whatever, like if we hadn't already been used to it, if we hadn't already been a part of some sort of dynamics, then it wouldn't be okay or healthy, and we wouldn't allow those things to happen, or we would feel a certain way, or we would respond in a certain way that would end in a different result. But when we don't know, and when we don't have that understanding and all of those things, it's like it causes all these other problems, and it causes all these issues, and it's like, ugh. So basically, it's like we need to heal, and we need to be like adults, and we need to be open, and we need to try. And it's hard, but if you pay attention, I feel like you're gonna notice these things more when you understand and educate yourself. And if there's people in your life that you really care about and that you don't want to lose, or people in your life that are hurting you that you don't want to keep, but are, making it very difficult for you to leave, I think the same results will be that, like, it's a frequency and it's an energy, and we create our reality, and we go to what we know rather than what we know is good for us. Like, this is familiar, so I'm a creature of habit. I'm gonna stay here because this is like what I'm used to. I'm used to being treated poorly. I'm used to having bad days. I'm used to, people doing these bad things to me. So this is where I stay and dwell and suffer and struggle. We've got to retrain ourselves. We've got to reprogram ourselves on how to be in a different vibration and frequency, and then from that new frequency and from that new energy, and from retraining ourselves to have higher expectations on ourselves, and what we feel good doing, and what we make normal, what we make the day-to-day thing. Like, I want somebody in my life who wants to be in my life. I want somebody in my life who wants to communicate with me because they would rather me know what's going on with them, and I want to be comfortable with communicating with them rather than avoiding and ignoring and putting it off, and just like cutting that person out just because of a mild inconvenience or one little thing that was like a bump in the road. And let me just get them out of here, because that's gonna, I don't want to deal with that one conversation. I don't want to give them the time to apologize to me. I'm not gonna, try to communicate with them and hash it out and see what their perspective is or anything like that. I'm just gonna avoid them completely, because that's easier and that's what I'm used to doing. But that's not going to get me anywhere in my life, other than probably very much alone and hurting and abandoned and all of the things that I don't want to be. Because my core wounds are abandonment because of my dad leaving when I was 4, and then feeling like a betrayal, and feeling like, this sense of like, I gotta do good, but if I do too good, then it's not okay because other people don't like that. So I end up sabotaging my really good things that I have happening, because I know that if I get too far along with that, that's going to make other people uncomfortable, because they don't want me to have those things because they're jealous, or they're this or they're that or whatever, because those are the experiences that I've had play out over and over and over. But what I need my new reality to be in, my new frequency to be in, my new experience that I'm going to be comfortable within, that is going to be my, wow, this is what I'm used to, so this is what I attract, and this is what I create, and this is what I manifest, and this is what I see playing out over and over and over, are fucking good things, are healthy things, are me accelerating, me making more money, me getting the person that I want to be with, to like be the person in my life, and to be having healthy communication with all of these people that I have around me. And yeah, maybe there's going to be a bump in the road, but that doesn't mean that because that bump in the road occurred that I no longer have that person, or that I'm just going to avoid doing things that are mildly discomfort because I don't have the tools or the skills. I'm going to find the skills. I want to be the person that knows what they're doing with themselves, knows where they're going with themselves, and isn't afraid to go there, and isn't afraid to continue to accelerate, and isn't afraid to say when something doesn't feel good, and isn't afraid to say, hey, I have needs, and I have wants, and I have desires, and I have, value, and I know my value, and I'm going to keep increasing my value. And if you want to be a part of the reality that I exist within, you're going to have to do the same thing, and you're going to have to know what my needs and wants are. So we're going to have to communicate about that, and whatever your needs and wants are, I need you to tell me them, so that we can discover if I'm able to meet them, and discover if you're able to meet mine. And that goes across all places with all people, whether it's a client or a lover, or somebody that's a family member. It doesn't matter. We need to be able to verbalize what we want, what we like, what we dislike, what is a non-negotiable for us. Like, if you do this, I can't deal with you. And I know myself, like I'm a very, I know I have my ways about me that I'm pretty set in or whatever, but I'm always trying really hard to be better. I'm always trying really hard to learn and understand and figure out the solution to problems to make life better. And when I care about people, I don't want them to leave or be I don't want to lose them. So I'm usually willing to do things that aren't maybe necessarily all the thing that I would be wow, this is exactly what I was hoping for. But if it means I have, my big needs and wants are, feeling good, and I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling healthy, and I'm feeling happy, that's all that matters. And I don't need them to be done. I'm not a human person here that's oh, it's gotta be the white picket fences and the normal stuff that everybody thinks that is important. I'm not like that. I'm out of the box and way down the corner, doing some weird shit, and I'm usually open to all different things and people and places and experiences. But a lot of times nobody knows that.
or nobody nobody gets to stay long enough to, like, ask that or something. I don't know. It's like I've had like this expiration date with people in my life, or things in my life, like anything good. I always like decide to end it, or I decide to, I'm gonna do something else now, because I think that is my whole, like, feeling of, this is probably gonna go away, or I'm probably gonna lose this or be abandoned by it, so let me put an end to it before that happens. And I think that's why, like, my first year online, I focused all on doing, like, readings and stuff, and did really good with that. And then the second year, I was like, my Etsy store, it was like my sole focus, and I did really good with that. And then the next year, now I'm like, let me do these memberships and blah 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 blah. And it's like, dude, like, pick something and keep with it. But there's also the part of me that likes to change it up and do other things. But part I see what I'm doing is, like, sabotaging my success, or even, like, when I was doing really good, I was still sabotaging myself. Like the candles, for example. My sister and I make them together. She makes them. Like, I buy the supplies, I buy all the stuff that needs to be bought to create them. So that basically is like, all right, you deduct that from, the cost, like the price of what we're gonna charge for the candle. I give my sister 50% of the money that is made from the candle, and I pay for shipping. So basically, I don't make any money from candles. Doesn't matter how many candles are bought with that setup. I didn't notice for a long time, like, and that was the thing, I didn't need it, because I was making videos that were selling, and I was doing all these other things that were, like, covering me, and I was fine with that. I'm not a greedy person, and I'm not a mean person. I try to help others, but then when I realized, like, oh wait, like, I think I'm actually losing money by doing this, because sometimes, it's expensive to ship stuff. Sometimes it's more expensive. Like, now, the things I used to get for the wax used to be like $40 less. The glasses, there was issues with getting the glasses, and it was like I had to go to other places and do other things, and it's but I noticed, like, when I stopped making my videos, it was like I wasn't having enough money anymore to cover things, and I'm like, this doesn't add up, because, like, my decks, that was another place that, like, I bought a deck before, like, I made a deck and bought it, shipped it here. It was like $13 less 2 years ago to do that than it is now. So that price, like, has, increased significantly, and the shipping prices have increased significantly. So now my prices have to increase significantly, and everything is, like, going like that with things. And it's like, but I was, like, sabotaging myself by doing that, like, giving all of the profit to her, when I should have been like, you know what, like, I'll buy all the stuff, and I'll pay the shipping out of the money that we make for the candles, and then whatever's left over from that, like, say, say it was a batch, right? I'm gonna do a batch of 10 candles. How much ever the cost is for all of the stuff that I just created that stuff with, and how much it's gonna be to ship it, we're gonna deduct that from how much these 10 candles cost. So if it was, say, $100 to make all of those, or $100 is what we're gonna make from selling all those candles, but I spent $40 on supplies, and, $20 on the shipping. There's only $40 left, so we split that, so we both get $20. And that's basically, like, what it's kind of adds up and equals out to be doing that. But instead, what I was doing was taking all of it on myself, and then sometimes probably paying out of my own pocket to send out candles that I was promoting, that I was, making content on my stuff so that traffic would go to that place and people would purchase those things. And that's insanity. That's like, you're just doing something that's not gonna benefit you in any way. Like, and then when I did the crystal thing, it was another time where I was, like, insane. You go buy crystals on Etsy, right? person selling it for $3 or $5 or $10 or whatever. That's how I priced based off of what the crystal was, you know. But then I was like, I'm going to activate the crystal and write up a fucking card to go with the crystal and send that to you too. That's like me basically taking time out to channel, activate the crystal, and then sit down and write, like, and each one was like at least 10-20 minutes, at least, minimum, that I spent doing that. Usually, though, it was longer, because I would look at it, especially the quartz. If it was a quartz, it was definitely longer. If it was just like a regular little stone that doesn't have all the facets and all the options that quartz has, it was probably like 15 minutes to 20 minutes that I would take, you know, because there's not a lot of stuff on it that is on the quartz. Quartz have multiple things that can make it different, and this means that, and that means that, blah, 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 blah. That knowledge alone is worth something. That time is worth something. My energy and frequency is worth something. And I was adding all of that into it, taking the time to give them basically a reading that if people paid for a 20-minute reading with me the year prior, it was $44 for that. And if they wanted a 24-hour rush on it, it was $99 for that. But instead of me charging anything, I just was like, here's your $5 crystal with your freaking $50 activation and reading and energy, and here you go. Because I'm insane. But I'm noticing these things now about myself. And it's because I've been healing. It's because I've been ascending. It's because I've been growing. It's because I've been evolving. And that's all we can do. But I know there's other people out there who've been through these things. Just pay attention. Look at your first relationship with your parents. They may not be bad people. They may not be horrible, you know, manipulative and lying and cheating and stealing and, you know, beating you up and doing all of those things. But if they do not have the skills to be in a certain way with different thing, and I'm gonna, you know, assume that almost every person on the planet at some point or like there's somewhere that they're just like not the best at doing that thing, and that's okay to admit that. But then we want to be like, instead of me making more humans that are gonna go out into the world with that issue and probably pass it on to others and cause heartache and cause all these issues between everybody that deals with them, I'm going to find a way to probably, like, I would educate myself, fix the issue, so that I don't pass it on to them to begin with. But if it's something that I really just can't get or whatever, I want them to have the opportunity to not repeat history or deal with the reality where that's never, you know, fixed, or just give them bring somebody in that can help, you know, or make it known that this is not but nobody really ever does that, because everybody makes it about shame. Everybody makes it about perfection, and nobody's perfect, and nobody's got all the answers, and nobody's going to fix you completely, and nobody expects anybody to be screwed up a little bit. We all have something. We just need to work together to acknowledge these issues that we have in our lives, and learn how to accelerate ourselves and to overcome them and to communicate with other people and to just do the difficult things sometimes. If you opening your mouth to have a conversation with another person is going to result in something like, oh, I don't want them to get mad at me and do ba-ba-ba-da-ba. If somebody does that, let them go then, rather than just meeking around and not speaking up and not, verbalizing what you've got going on inside of you. If you're going to do it in a healthy way, and you're going to try, and you're going to explain, and you're going to be vulnerable, and you're going to, just basically come at it with a good intention and heart, and, to try to fix or remedy or whatever, and somebody comes back at that with really toxic stuff, or just shuts down on you, or doesn't care, or doesn't hear you, or doesn't value you, or doesn't reciprocate in any way, or show that they would like to make some sort of attempt to do these like things or whatever, then don't let them be a part of the reality, and get used to the new reality where you only allow people in who are gonna be okay with that type of living. And as more of us do that, and as more of us heal, and as more of us grow, and more of us get the skills and the tools, and making like the sometimes little moment of, this isn't the best fucking experience of my life, it's a little bit uncomfortable, get through those moments to the other side of, wow, I'm really glad I did that and said that, because now it's like I can breathe again, and it's like now I've said my piece, and now we can work on that reality that I want to be in. Now we can have more and more people on the planet doing that, because we all collectively are choosing to love instead of hate, to speak instead of silence, to come together instead of separate, and to forgive what's happened. Like, that's the biggest thing too. It's like, I'm not mad at my mom. I know what my mom and I had was like a weird dynamic. I was more of the mom, and that's okay. I feel like she's a very young soul or something, like, maybe she had only incarnated here a couple times, and so whatever. Like, whatever. But basically, if I'm mad at her and I'm like, bye mom, blah, 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 it's not gonna fix it. It's just gonna make me like miserable and keep projecting it out onto her. I don't even like to verbalize it. I don't. And that's something that I'm needing to, though, because people need to realize, like, just because you weren't beat up every day, just because you weren't, maybe made to make you feel like insignificant every day of the week, but maybe a couple days a week or whatever, like, it doesn't matter to the level of your suffering. If something happened in your world that set you into a dynamic where you're creating a reality where you're used to not being treated well, or you're having like less than like phenomenal stuff, then it's okay to verbalize and acknowledge and say, like, that maybe wasn't the best experience for me. Or, you know what, even just in saying, like, they did the best that they could from the level of understanding and consciousness that they had. They were taught by their parents, and their parents were taught by their parents, and we're all evolving, and we're all growing, and we're all becoming newer, higher evolved people. And in order for that to continue to happen, we have to admit that something was not there and evolved at one point. And that's nothing to like be like meh, meh about. It's just to say, okay, that ends now, that ends today, that ends with me, and I forgive you, I love you, I understand. It's not your fault. Like, it's nobody's fault. It's just what was. And so now what is a new reality and a new experience where we're going to keep being open to evolving and changing and growing and ascending, communicating and healing and rising and being okay and feeling okay and knowing we are enough, and our purpose is to be here and to be in the vibration that feels good with the people that love us and support us and want the best for us and are willing to show up for us and do that for us and be like reciprocal. And we're gonna get better each day because of that. If more people could do that and do that and do that and do that, we could ripple it across the world, it would be much better. But even if you doing it only results in your life changing, then that's more than enough, because we all deserve to be the creator of our reality, but we need to be the creator of our reality with the understanding that we are okay, we are good, we are perfect as we are, but we are also loving ourselves enough to continue to go forward in a way that's like, I'm willing to admit and accept and change and do the things I need to do to improve everything inside of me, outside of me, in my relationships, in my dynamic with myself and others. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to continue that path. If I run across an obstacle, I'll face it and I will learn and I will grow. And if I do something that's not right, or if I hurt somebody in some way, I will look at it, I will acknowledge it, I will own it, and I will change it, you know? Or if it's something that you hurt somebody, but like what you did wasn't really necessarily something that sometimes it's going to happen, you know? Like maybe you just don't really like somebody. You don't have to force yourself to like somebody to make them happy. But if you don't like somebody, you don't have to be mean to them either. You can just be like, okay, you vibrate over there and I'll vibrate over here, and that's the end of it. But I know that there's a lot of like nuances and things in there, but I think the best thing is to just realize like whatever frequency you are emitting is the reality you are creating. If you want a better reality, shift the frequency up to a better state, to a better place, and keep that vibration of I am ascending. Like I am better each moment. I am better. I am better. I am awesome. I am amazing. I am healed. I am loved. I am infinite. I am creative. I am perfectly designed and creating what I want because everything comes to me easily and effortlessly. Whatever I'm, doing or whatever I want, whatever it is, it's just going to be here because that's just all I got to do is just allow and stop seeing myself as less than or far away from or needing to do some crazy thing in order to achieve some certain goal. We just need to accept ourselves totally in the moment. Like I am 100% okay who I am right now. There's nothing wrong with me. I am a perfect creation of, energies and frequencies, and this is who I am meant to be in this moment. But I am the bestest, highest vibration. I am the most powerful, the most put together, the most amazing version of myself that I can be in this moment, because that's where I am, is in this moment. And every moment that I live in this vibration, in this frequency of that I am my best, I am my highest self, I am creating this world from the highest place that I can create from the highest vibration that I can exist in, from the most joy that I can emanate, from the biggest love that I can hold, from the most mature state that I can emanate. If I can maintain that, see that, feel that, believe that, create that, exist in that, I'm going to continue to be that. And that's going to continue to grow and evolve and rise up and overcome the difficulty and the painful and the sad. It's probably going to bring some, things up like where it's like, oh shit, frequencies shifted higher. So now the things that aren't vibrating a frequency level that once were are going to fall away. So that may mean people, that may mean jobs, that may mean careers, that may mean whatever it is. Instead of being upset about it, just know that it's a frequency. If you have ascended to a point where you can no longer, be in that relationship or be in that job or be where you were, it's a good thing. It means that you've ascended. You're rising up, you're healing, you're growing, you're becoming the best version of yourself, or you are the best version of yourself. And other people can do that with you. Or you can, just be in the best vibration of yourself and frequency and just accept where you are and still love everybody, and send good vibrations and thoughts to everybody and let the job go that wasn't really serving your soul. Because what we do is we frequency shifts and we go to these new higher places, but we hold on to the things that don't really vibe there, and that causes resistance, and that causes and so then we start to get stuck and lower and lower and lower until we're able to still hold on to that thing, but now that new reality that we were trying to get to can't exist. So we can't coexist in both of these places. Sometimes we're gonna have to let things go, or people go, or jobs go, or whatever the fuck it is, so that we can continue to rise. We have to choose ourselves each time. And we can give people the information, the opportunity, and the love and the support to come with us. But if they don't apply it, and they don't work on it, and they don't do what they should be doing, or they're not at least attempting, do not keep yourself down there just to appease them, or just to like eliminate the fact that they might have to leave, because sometimes people have to leave. And that's something that I've been, realizing and struggling with myself, because I care about everybody that I bring into my world. They usually end up being the ones that like abandon me or just hurt me in some way, and then that sets up a dynamic where I'm in a frequency of believing that a lot of people are going to do that to me. So then I create reality where a lot of people do those things to me, or I perceive them as maybe doing those things, or trigger me to act a certain way that pushes them away. So then my belief of they're going to abandon me starts to happen, because I've pushed them away now through my behavior or something. I didn't maybe say go away, but if I do something that pushes them away, then and I'm not aware, then I perceive it as they're abandoning me, because that's the belief that I had on my core. So that's creating it. So we need to change the beliefs of I'm a valuable person, and I'm loved, and I'm supported, and the people who come into my life and my reality are here for a reason. They would not be here if we weren't a frequency match. They would not remain here if we were no longer meant to be in each other's world. So the fact that people are showing up in my life is a fucking reminder that we have a similar frequency, and we have a reason to be communicating, and we have a reason, and just a feeling inside of us we owe it to ourselves and to these other people to do what we need to do with them and each other and ourselves, and to keep growing and evolving. It's basically just a never-ending expansion and growth and acceleration and ascension process. So hopefully in all of that I can make a one video, because I stopped a couple of times and got a little distracted. I don't know. It was there was a lot I needed to say. And this is why I wanted to do the podcast, because I know there's so much I have to say, but I think I need to just start doing this type of thing and saying what I need to say and get it out there in either way, whether it's a video with pictures or podcast way. The only, I get weird about making decisions, like which place should I use? I have 5 different places set up right now to do a podcast, but I'm that causes me to be I don't know which one I want to use though, or which one should I use, because everybody has their opinions and their stupid things that you'll read. I just need to choose and do, but whatever. There's obviously a frequency that's not matching me at this point for that, so maybe I should just continue to make videos and say what I want to say and not worry. And the ones that I have that are only audio, I'll turn them into video. There we go. Problem solved. Make it something. Tuck. Alright. So, hopefully somebody got a message that they needed to hear. I definitely feel like that was totally hey, you need to go say this stuff and talk, because somebody needs to hear it. So I've been trying to honor that when Spirit speaks lately, and they've been speaking a lot lately. I've got so many things that I've written, really long ones and crazy, intricate, wow, I didn't even know that, wow, just a lot of cool stuff. So I will try to share more of that as I can, and thank you, Imune, namaste.